If you can't get your hands on a Rolex, so the adage goes, you get a Tudor. But what if you can't get your hands on a Tudor, or you just don't want to pay your next 4 months rent on a watch? Well, you go to AliExpress. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. If I get to 1,000 subscribers, I'll be doing an exclusive giveaway of a Game Boy Advance SP and a random selection of Pogs that I found in my loft. Homage, replica, clomage, tribute. I'm so bored of all of these terms, and I'm sure you are too. So let's just say that Pagani Design make watches. And I say make because no one's really sure what they design. This Black Bay 58 Pelagos mashup is actually one of their most creative pieces of work. Okay, admittedly that's not saying much, but it combines the colour scheme and the riveted retro stylings of the 58 with the bold blocky indices of the Pelagos to create, well, a bit of an odd patchwork quilt of a watch that's neither here nor there. Throw in this cross-stitch dial pattern that your nan made, and you end up with something that doesn't quite feel like a homage, but also doesn't really stand out on its own. Here are some specs so you don't have to listen to me regurgitate the product listing. Having got about 1 billion views for my video on the Black Bay 58, very much like Tudor themselves, I'm cashing in on that popularity, and I'll be comparing it to a watch about a 25th of the price. I will undoubtedly reach a perfectly reasonable, balanced outcome without triggering any rich virgins in the process. Thanks. So I'm going to go back to front as it were here, arse about tit, and I'll start with what Pagani gets all wrong. First off, the finishing is appalling, at least on the head of the watch. Just look at that discolouring. Now normally people might respond, well, what do you expect for £100? I'll tell you what I expect, Barry. Not to have lugs that look so much like copper. I'm thinking of selling them down the scrapyard. And is it too much to ask for a clasp that feels like it's actually locked and it'll actually stay on my wrist? When you press this down, you can hardly tell it's locked in place, and because there's no safety latch, you're kinda just taking a punt on it. Have a listen to see what I mean. Yeah, just nothing. So if you like wearing your watches tight, then honestly, don't bother here. And if you're taking this diving, then I dread to think what your wetsuit must look like. And the bezel action has, thankfully, noticeably improved on some of Pagani's earlier efforts. Have a listen. Frustratingly, they seem to have headhunted Seiko's head of alignment as well, because this is frustratingly off by a mil or so. And the riveted bracelet is, well, yeah, it's about as divisive as an ill-judged referendum. And very much like a nation becoming obsessed with fishing quotas, throwing them into the mix here is a very strange move indeed. Pagani could have won over the more those who don't like the faux rivets, with a more conventional bracelet. And on my model, straight out of the box, the faux rivet on the second link on one side of the bracelet kept getting stuck in between the lugs, so it basically didn't taper. It essentially meant that I didn't get the benefits of those female end links. Something that's true for me, not just in a watch context. Again though, this is £100. You could go to the Odeon and buy popcorn from the actual kiosk for that kind of money. If you've got another 20 quid, you could see a film too. So, on to the good. Well, the dial won't be for everyone, but combining elements of both the 58 and the Pelagos does show some creative thinking, and that's to be admired. Admired is a strong word, but I'm sat here doing a comparison of a Pagani design and the watch it's homaging. I can hardly get on my moral high horse, can I? And yes, Pagani have improved the loom. Have they added 40 quid's worth? Well, no. And the hands and indices don't really match. Plus, the faux patina means the markers are kind of a weird, sickly Simpsons yellow. Also, it does mean the date wheel looks a bit odd, just given that it's pale white. Wait, wasn't this the good stuff? They improved the loom. Onto the crown, and I do like this pop of red that matches up nicely with the red on the bezel insert. I know that they do also offer these with blue bezel inserts and red bezel inserts, but I think this strikes just the right note. And the winding action is good. It's smooth. It's alright. One thing a lot of reviewers ask is whether one of these Homage, Clomage, etc. watches is like a 100th of the watch the real deal is. Now, personally, I think that's a bit contrived, because of course they're not so bad as to render them basically worthless next to the real thing, nor do they give you the feel of having that vastly more expensive watch on your wrist. Obviously they don't. But does it at least do a job? Well, in this case, just about. It does a job. It's the Tony Hibbert of watches. Sorry if you're watching, Tony. But if you're looking for a watch to scratch the Black Bay itch, then I'm afraid I just don't think this is it. For £100, it's just too much for something with this lackluster finishing and some design oversights that, had they paid more attention to the thing they were homaging and what people find fault with there, they wouldn't have left them in. If it was me, I'd pay a bit more and go for something else. Something even closer to the 58's aesthetic, like San Martin's offering. Hopefully I'll get one of those in soon to take a look at. Jesus, maybe I should rename the channel Just One More Black Bay 58 video. Hey, come on, I spent over £2,000, I'm getting my money's worth out of this. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and hit the subscribe button. If you didn't, well, subscribe anyway, and I promise I'll make it up to you in the next one. And, like no watch YouTuber has ever asked you before, what do you think of Homage watches? Seriously though, do let me know in the comments. I'm reviewing watches on YouTube, so I can't exactly start boasting about originality. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.